Imagine there's a 50% sale in a store near you, and what you witness is actually they get less customers. Even people that come regularly, they come with items, they sell their items at 50%, and they then come out with nothing. Okay, there's all these TVs, there are all these fancy appliances, whatever. It's 50% off, it's only one time a year, and then they buy nothing. Doesn't that sound insane to you? And this is exactly what's happening in the CS market. You know, when everything is 50% on sale, everybody's selling. And that's not what you should do. So let me show you a clip on how we as investors can actually make money during the CS crisis. How we can protect us from truly and to find truly good items that will compound over time.
When the Native Americans attacked, the best defensive posture was to put the wagons in a circle and then try to defend as best as you can with that configuration. And I thought that that analogy might be a good way to think about investing.
What he means is, as an investor, what you're truly looking for is the 6 or 5 items that will truly just go up in price, even in like down bad times for the CS market, right?
He goes on to say, in 58 years of Berkshire management, most of my capital allocation decisions have been no better than so-so. And our satisfactory results have been the product of about a dozen truly great decisions, and which he's saying is about once every 5 years. So I tried to basically look at this period from like 65 to 22. And so, you have, let's say, 80 acquisitions in this 58-year period. He probably bought at least 210 stocks.
So even though that Warren Buffett is considered one of the best investors of all time, out of 210 stocks, there's only 12 truly good ones that actually moved the needle and made who Warren is today.
So if you look at the other candidates, Geico is probably one of those, and then Coke, Amex, Seas, Apple, BNSF, Mid-American, National Indemnity, Gillette. These were the large or the most important decisions that happened over almost 60 years. And what was really important, if you go back to these decisions, the important thing was not that they bought these 12 or they hired a Jeet. The important thing was they kept them all. So it wasn't the buy that was, because they had, 288 mediocre to poor decisions. They kept those two, right? So basically, in effect, they kept all 300. They lived with all 300 decisions.
So the important thing when actually you find a good item with good fundamentals, the supply is always going down, it has demand, the price is reasonable, and the difficult part is not actually buying it. It's holding on to it for a long time and not be tempted to sell, even if you're at a 2x, 10x, 100x.
And it was really important for these 12 not to have been deleted or sold. So basically, when we look at this kind of statistic, what we find is that investing is a very forgiving business. But it is forgiving if you don't cut the flowers and you don't water the weeds. So the difficulty comes when you start cutting flowers and watering weeds.
He's absolutely right. The difficult part in investing is not the buying.
I want to go over a few other examples because I want to show that it wasn't that Warren and Charlie were anomalies here. I think Warren and Charlie are more kind of par for the course in terms of how things work. So many of you may be familiar, there's a South African company called Naspers, and Naspers used to be a newspaper publisher. And they've been around for about 100 years. And in 1999 or 1998, they brought in a hired gun CEO, Koos Becker. And when they brought in Koos Becker, basically at that time, Naspers had a $500 million market cap. And Koos in 2001 took $32 million of that and bought an obscure Chinese company called Tencent, and he got a 46% stake, 46.5% stake in Tencent for the 32 million. And in fact, interestingly, they bought the stake from Li Ka-shing, who's a billionaire in Hong Kong, who's a very savvy investor. So it actually was a private transaction with Li Ka-shing selling, who's probably kicking himself for selling. And if we look at what happened, so Naspers has a $500 million market value. In 2004, when Tencent went public, the value of Tencent was about 900 million at the IPO. And so the Naspers share was almost like north of 400 million, which would have been most of the value of the company. The company was about 500 million. It was now approaching like half the value. They sold a little bit of a few shares at the IPO, but they pretty much did nothing after that. So from 2004 to 2018, they never sold a single share of Tencent. And if you look at it in 2018, Tencent has a market cap of 530 billion. So it went from 900 million, 10 billion, 50 billion, 100 billion, and they're not touching it. At this point, when Tencent is a $100 billion market cap, it's like 99% of the value of Naspers is sitting in Tencent. It's basically almost the whole thing. And it's sitting in a company that they do not control. And it's sitting in a company that is in China. And through all of that, Goose Becker doesn't sell.
So if you go back to the times we could go and buy Titan Hollow for 54 cents, and it went up in price, people bought it, and then they saw it double in price, maybe 10x in price, and then they sold, And I don't think a single person held from like 50 cents to, 60k now, because the human tendency to sell when something goes up very much is so strong. And I can guarantee you, all of those people that sold at $10, $2, $50, $500, $5,000, all regret selling. And so in your investing journey, the biggest regret you will have is not buying the right or the wrong item. It's selling the right item. And that's it for this video. Bye bye.